What's up, guys? Keyshawn Uchiha here, back at you with another new Ultimate Universe. Well, this is going to be more like a series of the Ultimate Universe. This will be episode 1 of Uchiha Unbreakable. Now I know what y'all thinking. Is this a JoJo reference? What's going on here? Is this guy about to make a JoJo and Uchiha arc together? No, you narcs. This is basically going to be me and my adventures, or you could say the continuation of Naruto Shippuden, but quite in a, you could say, clusterfuck, as it's going to be non-canon stuff, a lot of wacky, crazy stuff, a lot of fighting, and possibly some sex scenes, if you know what I mean. Now, of course, hit this like button. Let's get this up to 20 likes, and I'll give y'all episode 2 of this. But this will be containing a lot of references to YouTubers that will be in this. Also, it will be some fans. They will also be in this What If. This What If series of episode 1 to 2 to 3. And we'll go up all the way to season 10. And we might go to season 2. But other than that, let's continue. So what would this be about? So this is basically Uchiha Unbreakable. And how would this start this off? How would I be in this? How will YouTubers and other people will be in this? What if? Just trust me, you'll see. Now we're gonna start with the Shippuden arc. We're gonna say, and since Sasuke made his Team Taka, to help him kill Itachi, they begin to start going. Now this is where Sasuke encounter with Deidara. Now, this is the Deidara and Sasuke fight. Now, this is where Sasuke is fighting with Deidara and stuff, and pretty much this is where Deidara saying, "Oh, I'm getting back at you because what Itachi said and stuff, saying his art is pretty much explosions," which Sasuke pretty much counter with him, and after Deidara was basically saying, "I'm gonna blow you up for you thinking that my art is explosion," which this is where Sasuke immediately use his curse monster and use his wings to try to block the explosion. Basically telling him your art can be wherever you want it to be. If you want it to be an explosion, it can be an explosion, which Deidara said, "Oh," and he pretty much says you thought it basically blows up and he gets sent. Sasuke gets sent flying far, far away. Now, as pretty much Sasuke gets sent flying away into we're gonna say a secret Uchiha compound place or a secret Uchiha tab. Now this pretty much has a person frozen in there. Now this is where Sasuke pretty much sees a tablet and he pretty much uses his 3 Tomoe Sharingan, which we're gonna say he has. Now this is where Sasuke is looking, he's reading, saying, "Do not open this. A powerful Uchiha, not Uchiha, a god," and basically saying galaxy eyes and all that. Now this is where Sasuke pretty much sees a unique hand seal and pretty much does the hand seal. Now as he does the hand seal, this is where pretty much Sasuke sees the whole place begin to crumble. Now the person who's in the pillar or at stone begins to break out and pretty much falls down and says, God damn, those Uchihas really had to lock me in here? I didn't do nothing to him. I was helping the Uchiha." Which this is where Sasuke is a little bit confused and also shocked that someone can actually be stuck in or sealed away. This is where I look at Sasuke and says, Sasuke Uchiha, nice to meet you." Which Sasuke begins to stutter back and says, "What? How do you know my name?" "Yeah, I meet you around. I saw you many times before. Creating universes. I create universes and stuff, but I seen you in multiple universes. You becoming strong, weak, or dies in the earlier places. But I guess it's my time to help you out and to make the Uchiha Unbreakable." Which pretty much this is where Sasuke says, "What do you mean?" Which Sasuke begins to cough up blood and now. This is where Deidara comes in and says, "You think you can use that shitty excuse saying my art can be explosion stuff? You're just saying that to save your own neck." Which this is where I say, Deidara, nice to meet you." Which Deidara says, "Who the hell are you?" Which I begin to say, "Well, I'm Keyshawn Uchiha, a galaxy god. which he says, Galaxy God, you look pretty human to me, which I begin to say, yeah, it's because I'm not going to show you my real form. You might be in awe and get wiped. But, anyways, let me just basically heal him, which I tap Sasuke and heals him instantly, which Sasuke begins to get back up, feeling his strength and stuff. This is where I tell Deidara to pretty much join us, which Deidara says, huh, join you? And why should I join you? Which I pretty much says, well, Deidara, I want you to become a Uchiha. Now, no, now this is where Deidara and Sasuke Shaki says, stop kidding. No one can't become a Uchiha, which I pretty much says, well, I can make you into Uchiha. And plus, with your unique art skills and your explosions to make things come to life as art explosion, I want you to become a Uchiha. You'll be great in making more children like you with a mouth hand that can make explosion. It'll be brilliant, which this is where Dayor thinks, and he thinks he can open up academy of art explosions, teach a kid how to, make explosion art just like him, which he says, I take your offer, which this is where I say, all right, Dator, just stand still. Hey, can you tell me where's your friend at, Sasori? Which he begins to say, Sasori pretty much died. He was KSS and someone took his body and used it as a puppet stool. This is where I begin to think, like, oh yeah, that did happen. I'm sorry for asking that, but hold still for a minute. This is where I pretty much taps Data head, and he pretty much, his hair begins to turn black, and he begins to close his eyes and reawake and opens up the Sharingan. In the first try. We're gonna say not three Tommy Sharingan because I can give people Sharingans. Take away Sharingans or, make a unique Sharingan, which I'm about to do in a second. This is where I pretty much make Data OG, which Sasuke is in shock and realize that he just don't know what he just pretty much revived. This is where I pretty much says, all right, Data, I got a job for you. I need you to go back to the Koski and tell them this, which pretty much Zero says, okie dokie, boss man. Which this is where he begins to go. Now, this is where I snap my fingers and bring her Sasori's body, which we're going to say, as the other person was basically banishing Sasori up, the body just disappeared. Now, this is where I pretty much revive Sasori, bring him back, takes his soul and brings it back in the puppet body. He pretty much wakes up like, where am I? This is where I pretty much says, what's up, Sasori? Which Sasori pretty much says, it's you. Now, we're going to say I was pretty much in this Naruto universe, pretty much not as physically there, but as talking to people at the right time, telling them that I'm coming in, their dream is going to come to reality. So they was loyal to me. He wasn't. I just talked to him. So let's continue. Pretty much, this is where I pretty much get talk to him, and Sasori saying, "So it is true. You're you're back for real, and you're actually here to help." Which I pretty much says, "Yeah, you remember the plan?" Which he says, "Yeah." And he begins to say, "Thanks for bringing me back." Which I pretty much says, "Anytime, this dream of yours has to come to reality. No, so mine's. But first, it's time to help Sasuke out, kill his brother." Which I pretty much look at Sasori. He pretty much says, "All right, I know where's Itachi. I know where Itachi's at. He's over there." Which this is where I pretty much says, all right, let's go, Sasuke. It's time you face your brother and understand the truth of what this hatred is coming from. Which Sasuke reluctantly, agrees and comes, and we go fight Itachi. Now, this is where I'm going, and this is where we pretty much meet at a compound, and we see Itachi. This is where Itachi's sitting down, pretty much talking to Sasuke. Pretty much looks at me and says, "So Sasuke, who's your friend?" Which this is where I'm pretty much talking. I say, "Oh, I'm Keisha Uchiha." Which he says, "Uchiha? I never heard of you." Which I pretty much says, "Yeah, I might quite be in, history. But yeah, you haven't heard of me." This is where Itachi gets up and says, "Will you be helping me? Will you be helping my brother kill me?" Which I begin to say, Nah, he's gonna be the one fighting you. Which is where Sasuke begins to grease and backs up. Now, this is where Itachi activate his third Tomoe Sharingan, and this is where not Naruto, Sasuke begins to say Sharingan, and this is a different Sharingan because I'm gonna say this is where before we went there to Itachi, we're gonna say 20 seconds later, or yeah, 30 seconds later, I was talking to Sasuke, and this is what I said to Sasuke. Sasuke, if you want to defeat your brother by yourself without needing my help, I'm gonna need you to give me your eyes. Which Sasuke says, what? And I pretty much snatch his eyes from him. Which he begins to about to scream, which he says, wait, I don't feel no pain or anything. This is where I pretty much says, alright, Sasuke, close your eyes. Which he closes them, and I pretty much replace the eyeballs back in him. And I pretty much says, now, I gave you a new, I gave you a mixture of, I gave you something that's unique, the white Sharingans. Now, these Sharingans are basically going to look different, but they have a different aspect to them. They have the ability to have yin and yang. So you can use those release. Which pretty much Sasuke says, huh, so new Sharingans. And I pretty much explained to him that he can get up to internal, he can go all the way up to internal Mangekyo Sharingan, but he has to train himself even more to get to that internal. But he can use the Mangekyo Sharingan. I basically said that's how far he can go. But this is where he says okay, and we pretty much starts to go. Now this is where Itachi is shocked that Sasuke has these new Sharingan eyes, and he says, What are these?" Which I begin to say, "Oh, you notice his eyes? They're different from a Sharingan. Yeah, these are white Sharingans, and they're much stronger than a Sharingan." Which this is where he says, "Huh, I'd be the judge of that." Which this is where Sasuke has his fight Itachi. Now I already know that Itachi is sick, and I begin to say, hey, wait, Sasuke. It wouldn't be fair if you fight your brother who's sick, who has an illness sickness, which this is where Itachi is, shocked and starts to do a little French with. Sasuke knows this. This is where I begin to say, oh, here you go, let me heal you, where I begin to heal Itachi. Now it's a full fair fight, which we all know Itachi could have won that fight with Sasuke. But let's continue. Pretty much they have their fight, and Sasuke is having the upper hand due to the white Sharingan. And this is where they still have a fight, and we're gonna say Sasuke does his move, and he goes up to the rooftop and does the whole fire steel stuff. He says, "Huh, this is your end, brother." Which which Itachi looks and he sees what it is, and he's like, "Now die, Karen." Which the big lightning dragon comes down and straight up this hits Itachi full force. Now this is where Itachi gets back up, and he pretty much gets back up. He says, "Is that all you got, brother?" And pretty much creates a Susanoo. Now, as he creates a Susanoo, this is where he pretty much fights Sasuke, and Sasuke is pretty much trying to figure out what the hell to do until Sasuke realized that he can go all the way up to the internal Mangekyo Sharingan. This is where he forms half of the Susanoo, the half Susanoo with the skeletal system. And he pretty much has we're gonna say a sword and a crossbow. So a sword crossbow. This is where Sasuke begins to try to come back at Itachi, but it doesn't work out because Itachi has a fully armored one, and not like a flying one, but an armored one, like a fat turtle shell one. And Sasuke doesn't, so Sasuke still takes a lot of damage. This is where, of course, Orochimaru unleashes seals and trying to say your body's mine until Itachi grabs Orochimaru and seals him with the Itosuke. Now this is where Sasuke is running low on chakra because I didn't give him a lot of chakra for it, but he begins to get back up and says, "Damn it, why won't you die?" Which this is where uh, Itachi's walking slowly, pretty coughing up blood and walking close to Sasuke, where Sasuke is backing up and stuff. And he looks at me pretty much saying, "What are you doing, Kishan? Help me!" Which I begin to say, you need to calm down. Which I basically say that to him, which he's saying, "Calm down? What do you mean I'm about to die?" Which This is where Itachi does the head thing on Sasuke's face and dies, saying goodbye. This is where I pretty much says, you happy now? You finally killed him? Which Sasuke looks up and says, yeah, and begins to shed a tear. This is where I bring back Itachi, which Itachi wakes back up saying, what? What am I doing alive? Am I truly alive? Which Sasuke says, you brought him back. Why did you? Which I pretty much says, it wasn't his fault. Which Sasuke says, what do you mean it wasn't his fault? And I begins to, this is where Itachi is trying to tell me, no, don't tell him, which I pretty much tell him to lay down. He needs to know the truth. It's all because of Danzo. Which Sasuke says, what? What do you mean? Which I begin to say, when you killed Itachi, I brought him back. I brought him back for a reason, because he needs to tell you the truth, too. It's all because of Danzo. Danzo's true plan was really to have Itachi kill the Uchiha. Why leave you alone? He, because if the Hatoke thing happened, you would get killed in the process. So that's why Itachi sacrificed all the Uchiha for you. Only you, because Danzo was planning to get all the Uchiha eyes. Which this is where Sasuke immediately stop cheering and begins to form the internal Mangekyou Sharingan with his hatred. And he begins to start getting angrier. And he starts saying, is this true, brother? Is this really true? Did Danzo plan all of this? Which Itachi begins to cry and says, yes, it's all true. I had to kill my beloved. Which we're going to say his girlfriend, which he had feelings for. And this is where Sasuke begins to get even more angry. It says, you did all, it wasn't your fault. And I killed you. Which he's still thinking, and he's just getting furious. Which I begin to say, alright, Sasuke, you need to calm down. Which he pretty much is getting angry and says, how can I calm down? Which I pretty much just knocks him out. Now, after I knocked him out, this is where I pretty much grab Sasuke and grab Itachi and pretty much take him to another Uchiha compound place. Now, this is where I pretty much lay them in the mid bay, because it's a Uchiha mid bay, secret base mid bay killing thing. But pretty much they're pretty much getting healed. I'm pretty much just like waiting for Obito to come in. Now, as Obito pretty much come in, this is where I pretty much look at him and says, Obito, you here? I know you're here, Obito. Which Obito pretty much says, and who are you? Which I pretty much appear in front of him and says, how about you see for yourself? And I tap pretty much Obito's head, pretty much showing him all his fates and all his encounters dying and stuff, and every alternate universe he was in, including an inappropriate one in the Berserker arc. And he begins to fall down saying, what are you? Who are you? And I pretty much say, well, I'm Keisha Uchiha. Which he pretty much says, stop falling down and get back up and says, okay, so you show me all that for what? Which I pretty much says, well, Obito, you're getting played. You got played every time. How about we make a new start? And I help you achieve, and I help you bring back her. Which, this is where Obito says, who do you mean? Which I pretty much says, Rin, you never get to have your chance with her, or a happy ending. So let's make a happy ending this time for Uchiha's and for the ones we lost. Which this is where Obito says, okay. Well, begins to think and says, okay. And how can I trust you with this? Which I pretty much says, here, come here. Which pretty much Obito comes, and I pretty much give him his second eye. Not taking the eye from Kakashi, but giving him a second eye. And it's pretty much, we're going to say, since Obito didn't get the Rinnegan at this time. Yeah, he did get the Rinnegan at this time because they never planned to attack the Leaf Village yet. So, yeah, we're pretty much going to go to it. I pretty much give him the Rinnegan. This is where Obito looks and he can see. And I pretty much says, and I give you a chakra boost too, Obito. So do you believe me? Shall we make these dreams into reality? Which he begins to nod and says, alright. And begins to head off. And I already tell him a different plan, so I told him to pretty much bring Rin. I told him to bring Rin's body and not to start a war yet at the Leaf yet, because I'm telling him to hold it off. Now, yeah, actually, no, yeah, we're gonna say, yeah, Obito went to Rin and he told them to hold off on the attack on the Leaf, but they still do the attack on the Leaf. And so, yeah, now we're just gonna go back to me. So after Obito brings back Rin, I pretty much heals Rin, bring her back to life, and pretty much Obito starts crying, and Rin starts seeing that it's Obito's. And I'm gonna say I gave her a more mature body as an adult body, so yeah. But she just has missing years. But yeah, let's continue. Pretty much, Rin says, "Obito, is that you?" Which Obito begins to start crying, saying, "Rin is you," and it begins, having that sentiment moment, saying that he really missed her and stuff, and that she died by the hands of Kakashi. Which Ren is shocked and trying to figure out why, like, what and how that happened. Which I begin to say, well, it wasn't really Kakashi's fault. It was because of the hidden myth village and making you have the three tails Chinchuriki weapon. Which Ren is shocked and saying, so that's what happened, and that's why he did that. Which this is where I says, yeah, and Obito, that's what truly happened. I know Madara only did that to make you see at that point, so he can manipulate you and have his way to be brought back, become ultimate that ultimate being. Which this is where Obito begins to clench teeth and says, so that's why. Which I begin to tell him to calm down. Now's not the time for that to happen. Which this is where I begins to say, all right, Obito, I want your next plan. You know what I want to do for you to do next. Which Obito says, yes, what is it? Which I begin to say, I want you to bring Kakashi here. I want you to bring him here. And I have something for him. Which Obito says, what that can be. Which I begin to say, you wouldn't like it, so I might as well tell you to not ask about it. And he pretty much says, okay, and he just teleports and try to go get Kakashi while fighting. He's going to try to fight Kakashi. Or you could say, when the attack is happening, he comes in and he pretty much grabs Kakashi dead body and bring it to me. Now this is where I pretty much take the nail out his head. Pretty much takes the nail out his head and says, alright, time to bring him back. And I pretty much brings him back. Now, as I'm bringing him back, this is where, he has his talk before he comes back. This is where Kakashi wakes up with, well, two, well, a different power, feeling stronger and, much better. This is where he looks around. This is where Ren hugs him and says, Kakashi, which, um, this is where Kakashi says, Ren, is that you? Is that really you? And, feeling happy about the celebration and stuff. Obito's not having it because, like I said, he still don't like Kakashi for doing that. That could have been another way. But anyways, let's continue. This is where Obito is not. Well, this is where Ren starts saying that Obito is here, and this is where Obito begins to show himself, and Kakashi gets wide-eyed and saying, Obito, you're alive too? It couldn't be, which, this is where I say, yeah, Kakashi, they're both alive. But anyways, I'm here to tell you something, which Kakashi says, yeah, what is it? I'm going to plan a war on the Leaf Village, which everybody's shocked. Because we're going to say Itachi and, not yet. Itachi and Sasuke woke up and they pretty much hear in all enterprise, which I begins to say, yeah, I'm starting a war on the Leaf, but not at the Leaf. Really, just at one person, Danzo. I want you to bring him here, or I will personally fight the Leaf myself. Which this is where um, Kakashi saying Danzo, why? Which I pretty much says he's the one who planned the attack, to plan Itachi to kill all the Uchihas. He's the one who's doing it. So you better bring him for trial, or I will kill him myself. or kill the Leaf and him. Those are those are your choices, which I send Kakashi back. But I send him back with two Sharingan eyes, so he will have pretty much Obito's power with the two Kamuis. So yeah. But let's continue. Pretty much after that, this is where Itachi begins to say, "What do you mean war at the Leaf?" Which I begin to say, "Calm down. It wasn't really. I wasn't really planning that as a threat. I just wanted him to think that as a threat, so Danzo can pretty much start running right into our trap, so we can finish him once and for all." This is where Sasuke says, "That's brilliant." Which I says, "Yeah, but right now, Sasuke, you need to get stronger. Itachi, you need to make up with your brother and have a conversation. Oh, and I forgot one more person, which I pretty much snaps my finger and bring back Shisui in his prime." This is where Itachi is shocked, Sasuke is shocked, and Obito is shocked, which they begin to say, "Who is this person?" And Rin too, which I begin to say, "Oh, you don't know this person? Oh, this is pretty much Shisui Uchiha. Itachi knows him. Sasuke knows him, which Itachi and we're gonna say no. Sasuke runs and hugs Shisui, which he says, "Shisui, where have you been? Where have you gone? I thought Itachi killed you." Which this is where Shisui says, "I thought I died too. What happened?" Which Abi can say, "Yeah, I bring you back from the dead. Yeah, yeah. All right, let's go." Like I'd be like, "All right, let's go, guys." Which they pretty much continue going. Now we're gonna say I pretty much tell them that I'm gonna bring back all of the Uchiha, and I pretty much bring back every single Uchiha, including Fukaku Uchiha, and explains to them what who is the real guy who caused all this. The Leaf Village really did nothing to them, and really their true person is to assassinate Danzo, kill Danzo, which all the Uchihas are pretty much pissed off at Danzo. But I tell them, I assure them that all of them don't need to come. We only just need Sasuke, me, and Obito. Itachi, he's not gonna come because I tell him to protect the Uchihas and help the Uchihas come back to the Leaf Village, so everything can get set. Which that's what Itachi and Shisui did while we go there to fight Danzo. Now we pretty much go there and we're fighting guys left and right, pushing them away. Not killing them, but pushing them away and stuff. And this is where the same scene happened again with Sasuke appearing, pretty much with his new attire looking. But I'm gonna have Sasuke attired with the Orochimaru Arc. Yeah, with the 2 year time skip with the Orochimaru Arc with the Cursed Mark Seal. I'm gonna have that outfit, but I'm gonna have sunshades because I like to rock with sunshades for a reason. But pretty much, uh, Sasuke appears and he's pretty much looking around and he sees Danzo saying Danzo, which I appear and I pretty much appear. I says, "Yeah, Danzo, we're pretty much looking for you. We knew you was trying you was afraid and you was trying to look for alliance so you can have the Uchihas to come and get assassinated and Sasuke to die too. I know about your trick," which this is where Obito says, "This is your end, Danzo." Which pretty much this is where Danzo, you know, had the five Kages to come attack us, but we pretty much whooped their ass with ease. Now the Raw Kage with the lightning, he pretty much charged at me, and I pretty much take off my black sunshades, and I pretty much look at him with a smile and says, "Huh, Galaxy Sharingan," and pretty much activate them. As I activate them, this is where the Raikage immediately falls down to the ground, and he's out. He's out cold. Now, of course, this is where everybody's shocked, and I pretty much says, "Oh, yeah, this is my Galaxy Genjutsu. If you're trapped in it, you better pray that I let it go, because you'd be trapped there for eternity." Which Sasuke is shocked and Obito is shocked that I have a powerful Sharingan eyes, which I pretty much put back on my sleeves and says, "Alright, time to go." Which Sasuke and Obito, we fall after pretty much Danzo, and we pretty much have our fight with Danzo. Now, Obito will be distraction to distract Kakashi, Naruto, and Sakura from the whole fight between Danzo, me, and yeah, Sasuke. So we pretty much fight. The same fight happened as usual, but Sasuke has a white Susanoo because I gave him the white Sharingan. and he's pretty much effing up Danzo. Why Danzo keep using the Sharingan? This is where Danzo's about to using his final Sharingan, and he begins to cough up blood. Now, actually, yeah, this is where Karin gets captured as usual in canon. And pretty much this is where Sasuke asks Karin, does she trust him? Which she says, yeah, I trust you. And this is where Sasuke does the finger thing and pretty much pierces through Karin. Not hitting her organs or heavy spots, but pretty much hit her past the shoulder and pretty much pierces Danzo in his chest. This is where Danzo's coughing up blood, pretty much trying to, get his air, which Sasuke says, what's wrong? Which this is where I appear beside Karen and heals her, saying, are you okay? Which she pretty much says, yeah, but how I healed her is basically I let her bite me because I have the same. Like I said, I have all abilities whatsoever, every single last ability from every anime and every trick and joke and all that. But pretty much I healed her, and she's pretty much saying, "You're like me," which I pretty much says, "Yeah, you could say so that way." But let's see Sasuke finish this old man, this old weird Sharingan taker away, which this is where Karen looks at Sasuke pretty much finish off Danzo. But this is where Danzo used the last ditch ever explosion that says, haha, F you, I get the last win. And this is where Sasuke pretty much jumps away. I mean, pretty much I grab Sasuke and Karen and teleport away at the right location and pretty much lands, which Danzo blows up and dies. This is where Sasuke looks up in the air and says, it's finally over. Which Naruto pretty much runs up to Sasuke and says, Sasuke, come back to the Leaf Village, which Sasuke says, which this is where I look at Sasuke and nods, which Sasuke says, alright. And he pretty much, this is where Sakura and Naruto and Kakashi is shocked that Sasuke is going willingly, which I pretty much says, yeah, you heard him, he's going. Which Naruto and Sasuke don't have that fight at the thing, but this is where I this is where Kakashi knows that he knows me, and he pretty much keep it quiet to Sakura and Naruto that who I am, and pretty much yeah. Now I know what y'all thinking. Wait a minute, ain't that pain arc is separate? Yeah. So I know what y'all thinking. I should probably explain the time skips and stuff, but let's continue. Pretty much after that, I I pretty much bring back Madara. I pretty much bring back Madara to life, which Obito says, you used me, which I pretty much calm down Obito and tells him to calm down. Which I pretty much put Obito under a Genjutsu, pretty much knocking him out and Rin. Now this is where uh we're gonna say Madara Uchiha wakes comes up and I pretty much bring back his brother and we're gonna pretty much and I pretty much bring back those two and I bring Sasuke there. This is where I take the reincarnation, take a memory out Sasuke's mind, or the reincarnation mind of the first. We're gonna say the Sage's son and bring him here. Now, as I bring him here, this is where Sasuke is shocked and trying to figure out who the hell is he, which I pretty much explains that it's the Sage's son, and explain to Madara and to the Sage's son who is the true culprit and enemy here. Which I pretty much says it's the White Setsu. He's the reason that caused all of this to the Uchiha, which this is where Madara starts to get angry and says, is that true then? We must. Which I pretty much says, yeah, we have to. But first we have to go back to the Leaf Village and reestablish the Uchiha. Which Madara says, alright. And we all starts to go. Now, this is where I pretty much talk to Lady Tsunade, and I pretty much explained to her who I am and stuff, and she's pretty much saying, okay, you're Uchiha, and you're basically saying that a big war is coming up soon. And why is that? Which I pretty much says that, pretty much what's going to happen is that Black Zetsu, he's probably already found another body in the host to take over. And he probably already brought back everything he needs. Now what he needs is just needs the last nine tails. And since he got a simple of it, which I'm gonna say someone or something gave him the nine tails Cherokee, half of the other side of the nine tails Cherokee. And yeah, now he pretty much has all the tail beasts and half of the tail beasts. So he's basically the Black Zestro is pretty much yeah recreating the ten tails right now. This is where everybody get ready, and including the Uchihas because they're going to help, and we begins to start head out. Now Madara is helping out the Leaf Village because he wants to kill that Black Zetsu for really doing that shit and manipulating the Uchiha Tapping and playing him as a fool. So he wrote comes in and fights. And this is where Madara pretty much jumps beside Sasuke and Naruto, and this is where they begins to feel. Well, we're gonna say since Naruto has that final bond with Kurama. Well, not the final bond, but y'all get what I'm saying. Basically, uh, makes the summons the QB in his yellow form, Biju form. This is where, of course, Madara comes to the side and Sasuke comes to the side and pretty much armors up the Nine Tails. Because we're gonna say since Madara knows how to do it, Sasuke will get it from him too. And they begins to charge at the Black Zetsu and the tablet. This is where the Black Zetsu says, "It's too late. It's over," which pretty much he reforms the Ten Tails. Now, as he's reforming the Ten Tails, this is where the Black Zetsu absorbs himself, finds the body, which he pretty much gives it to, to one of the bodies and begins to let that body absorb it. And we're going to say this is where one of the bodies was, I guess, Hiruzen. Yeah, Hiruzen. And pretty much Hiruzen becomes, the host of Ten Tails and stuff. And he starts floating, looking around, saying, huh, I don't know why I'm like, which he pretty much gets into himself. And he says, Naruto, is that you? Which Naruto says, oh, Hiruzen, oh man, how you doing? Which Hiruzen says, I'm doing quite good. But why am I, which this is where he gets pierced through. And this is where the White Zetsu pretty much does all the thing. And pretty much this is where Kaguya gets born. Now, this is where, of course, uh, Naruto looks in, pretty much sees who she is. And this is where Naruto charges at Kaguya and Madara and also Sasuke. And I'm pretty much looking. This is where Kaguya just pretty much dispersed that whole thing because Naruto haven't talked to Sages this path yet, or to Sasuke yet. And pretty much Kaguya says, "You don't look nothing like them. Die." Pretty much piercing through their hearts. Now Madara gets it flying. He's not dead yet. This is where Madara gets it flying to the ground. He's pretty much getting back up, holding his wrist. Now this is where I pretty much bring back the first Hokage, the second Hokage, and bring back Minato to life. And I'm pretty much saying, all right, I need y'all guys. I need y'all guys' help. Which Minato confused how he got. Well, we're gonna say since the Black Zetsu bring back all the Hokage and stuff, I pretty much just brought them to life, like to life. But let's continue. Pretty much after that, this is where Minato says, "All right," and we're gonna say he has the other side of the Nine Tails. Now I brought back Kashina too because Minato and Kashina is kind of together, so I brought her back, but she's at the Leaf Village, confused of where the hell she's at and stuff. Which this is where Lady Shinai says Kashina, which which this is where Kashina says, Lady Shinai, you really grown, which we're gonna say this is where she cries and they hug and start talking it out and stuff and trying to figure out what the hell's going on. This is where Minato is fighting and stuff, and he's pretty much combined with Chroma, so the other side, the good side, and pretty much they start to work together and fight in Kaguya. Now the fight is getting quite fierce because Madara is jumping in, Hashimura is jumping in too, fighting in. Like Madara and Hashimura is together using the armor witch style Susanoo, while Tomura is pretty much using his jutsus and trying to seal up Kaguya so she can't teleport anywhere and stuff and not change the whole like platform and everything. Yeah, they're pretty much having that fight right now. Now, of course, this is where Hiruzen, I bring him back in. He's pretty much fighting with Kaguya at the same time. Not in the Ten Tails form state, so sorry. that's not gonna happen. But I might do it in another part. But pretty much, yeah, Hiruzen fights in, trying to help out too. And Kaguya, she's pretty much, taking some damage, tiny bit of damage, only 1%. And they're pretty much giving they all. Now, this is where the Sage Assist Path pretty much appears and talks to both of them and stuff, and see what's their both conclusions and stuff. This is where I appear besides them, and Sasuke is shocked at how am I here, and Naruto is shocked too with how am I here. Which this is where I talk to them and say, "Listen, guys, it's y'all fate. Y'all know what y'all do and stuff. But right now, I need y'all to get powerful." And this is where I pretty much talk to the Sage Assist Pro says, "I got this," and I pretty much points at two of the hands. Now, Naruto would get the sun as usual, and Sasuke would get the moon as usual. But I give him two different sets. I give Naruto the Galaxy Sage eyes, which pretty much it's like Sage mode, but much different. It's not with nature, but with the galaxy as everything, including to the Big Bang. So you will see some potential. You're gonna see something crazy happen with Naruto. But Sasuke, I pretty much give him the Galaxy Rinnegan because what the hell? I like Sasuke and I think he can handle my Galaxy Rinnegan power. But let's continue. This is where they wake back up, and Kaguya pretty much turns around, and she gets a Rasengan. Gets a Rasengan, yeah, a Galaxy Rasengan throw, and pretty much uh, a light Rasengan. So it's a light Rasengan and a dark Rasengan. Kind of like Yin Yang gets thrown at her. She pretty much gets all the damage. It gets sent flying. While Sasuke pretty much jumps up and says, "Fire Style, Galaxy Fire Jutsu," which he pretty much shoots a Galaxy Fireball at her and pretty much does a lot of damage to her. Which this is where Madara and all of them shock, which Naruto says, "Damn, it wasn't enough." And he pretty much clenches his fist, which I pretty much look and smile, which I'd be like, this is gonna be good. Now this is where Sasuke pretty much opens up his eyes and he shows the Galaxy Rinnegan, which Naruto pretty much clenches his fist and saying, "You ready, Sasuke?" And he pretty much transformed into a different form, the Galaxy Sage form, like I have. But the armor, like whoever equips that form, you have a lot of armor, and you do a lot of damage. You could say, like damage that can like Saitama damage. You could say. But let's continue. Pretty much, this is where Kaguya she's getting back up, and this is where the Black Zetsu is trying to jump on Naruto and Sasuke until I slice both of them away. It says, "Now guys, do it," which this is where Kaguya switched the platform and everybody starts to fall until they all pick themselves up. This is where, of course, I come in and I pretty much kick Kaguya to them, and this is where Naruto and Sasuke do a point like they're both jutsus like Shidori, but Naruto is Rasengan as a Galaxy Rasengan, while Sasuke is a black like black hole Shidori. So this is where they hit her, and she pretty much takes a lot of damage from that. While I pretty much jump up and I say, uh, light style, light ball jutsu, and I pretty much throw the light ball at her or fire the light ball at her, you could say, which I pretty much says and a spin, and I pretty much make the ball go huge and kind of like a big bang. Now after that, Kyle gets pretty much down on the ground, and this is where I pretty much hold her now. It says, "Y'all ready, guys? Now do it," which they pretty much both touch her, and they seal her away. Now, after that, pretty much this is where Naruto and Sasuke do the seal, because Sasuke really didn't get the one to pursuit. I mean, truth of me saying that leaf and that. So, yeah, pretty much, let's go. After that, this is where Naruto heads home, and everybody comes to peace stuff. Sasuke and Sakura, they pretty much, start to talk to each other, Sasuke saying sorry and stuff, and they go on a date and stuff, you could say. Mm, mm, no, we're not gonna let that happen. I'm sorry. I mean, no, I let it happen because I want to see Sasuke's daughter, Sanori. So yeah, I want her to be in the Boruto thing. So let's continue. Pretty much, actually, no, we can still have Sanori with Karen. Yeah, so Saturday will be with Karen. So Naruto and no, so Sasuke and Karen will be together. But yeah, Obito and Rin they get together after that, and the first Hokage and the second Hokage, and also Madara is alive now, and Haru's alive, so they will be in the Boruto arc too. But let's get to the Naruto the last movie, you could say. Now, this is where I pretty much help out Naruto with the village and stuff. You know, all the girls are like saying, "Oh my God, Kishan! Oh my God, Naruto!" and stuff. Like the girls are fanning over Naruto, but Naruto has his eyes on Hinata, you could say, but also Sakura, trying to see which one he wants to really seal the knot with or be with. Which I begin to say, listen, dude, I would recommend Sakura just because, and I begin to say, oh well, you can do both. You can really have an open marriage to marry two people if you want to, which Naruto says, is that true? Can I really do? Which I said, yeah, you can actually do it. It's actually, you can actually get that done, which this is where Naruto says, okay, now, this is where, of course, everything happens as usual. The big balls going down, a thing, and me and Naruto pretty much go save Hinata. Now, this is where we're gonna say Sasuke is out of town, you could say, doing we're gonna say going around the world, just like in the original canon in the movie, and pretty much doing all that stuff. But this is where Martyr is about to, come in and destroy the ball, or we're gonna say no, we're gonna say he pretty much is about to renege on it because we're gonna say Martyr we're gonna say Martyr has the Renegon and Harashimara he's still alive with his god no granddaughter, with her granddaughter and grandson, because I brought them alive too. I brought them back to life too. So this is where Harashimara is about to, use his Earth style. They're pretty much trying to catch the ball and stuff. And they're pretty much thinking, can they stop this thing? Including Madara too, because he's he's thinking like his Susanoo plus his Rinnegan might not be enough. Until Sasuke comes in and he pretty much slashed the thing in half, destroying the thing. And he says, "Remember this: if Naruto falls, then I will be the one who take the place." And he pretty much disappeared, which I'm like, which I pretty much says, "Wow, that's a pretty cool ass intro. I mean, a cool ass interest." Which they pretty much saying Ichi was with Naruto, which I begin to say, "Oh shoot, you're right," and I teleport back. Now this is where I teleport, and me and Naruto is looking at the guy, and he's pretty much saying how he got those. Well, we're gonna say he says how he got those eyes and stuff, and why he's this powerful, and why he wants to marry Hinata and stuff. Which this is where we say, well, you can't just be forced marrying people and stuff. Which he pretty much says shut up, and they fight. Now this is where, of course, I come in and I'm kicking his ass, and me and Naruto is using the nice Uchiha Uzumaki combo special and just straight up patty kick his ass. Now I know what y'all thinking. Am I fighting him in my regular form? Yeah, he only made me use 1% of my power. I'm sorry, it's not 100%. He wasn't that strong. But pretty much, but he did make me use my Galaxy Rinnegan Eyes. That's what he did. But let's continue. This is where I pretty much use my Susanoo, and I pretty much put him to the wall, and my Galaxy Susanoo, so it looks like a Galaxy Star is unique. But I pretty much grabbed him to the wall and holds him down. And Naruto pretty much as he's talking says, "Will you stop?" Which he pretty much says, "All right, I give up," and he gets out of there. Which we pretty much grab Hinata. But before that can happen, I pretty much grab this guy, and I pretty much says, "Uh, I think, I think I'm gonna be taking, taking your eyes now." Which he says, "Wait, no," and I take his eyes away. And I pretty much says, "I might give it to someone who needs it at the time." Which I pretty much make him disappear, and he's pretty much screaming in agonized pain, which he can't use his form no more. Which I pretty much says, "Oh yeah, good luck on the moon," which I pretty much disappear. Now, we're gonna say time skip. Everything happens the same with the Naruto and the whole punch in the stomach, but I gave the eyes to his daughter as a birthday gift when she was growing older, which Naruto pretty much looks at me in disappointment of like, I should not give her something that powerful, which she enjoys them because she can fly and stuff and do all that stuff and create little moon balls and stuff to float around. But when she gets older, she's gonna be dangerous. But let's continue. Pretty much, yeah, Boruto is born and stuff. We all know. Yes, I know Boruto why he has to be born. But let's continue. Pretty much, he's pretty much boring and stuff. And we're gonna say this is where the movie comes in. Yeah, I'll wait till the movie. Now, Boruto is pretty much cheating in the exam as usual, and I pretty much tell Naruto not to get mad at him. He just knows he can't perform the Rasengan, so he's trying to perform other things by using those things. Which this is where Naruto won't get mad at his son, but tell him to like to pretty much expose him for cheating. Now, that goes with the same stuff, but this is where the Usuki comes in and begins to start attacking. Now, we're going to say Madara is now an old man now, but he does have children of his own and grandchildren. Yeah, and grandchildren. He's an old man, but he's still kicking. And Hiroshima, he also have kids and also other kids because I say I brought back his wife. So his wife and him was doing it more since they was still in their prime, and they also have children and grandkids. But yeah, let's continue. Pretty much this is where they're trying to figure out what to do, and this is where Madara gets in his armor, and he has gray hair, not like old man gray hair as pure white, but old man hair, and well, we're gonna say half black, half gray. Look, gray wrinkles coming, pretty much showing, because we're gonna say they still don't fit in. Hiroshima comes in with his gray, like same hair thing, like this says, "All right, I'm ready." Which this is where Hiroshima wife and Madara's like saying, "I don't think y'all should be doing this. Like, I want y'all to still be alive and kicking and stuff." Which Hiroshima starts looking down, saying, "What? You think we're not strong enough? We can still fight and kick it." Which and, and Madara saying, "Yes, it is true. We've been training and fighting with each other, even in this old age." Which this is where Tomura says, "Ah, well, they ain't lying. I was doing it too." Which this is where Lace Knight says, "Papa, I mean, Father, how you been? Why y'all been doing that? Y'all getting old. Y'all should be relaxing." Which they pretty much look away. Says, "Nah, I would never let those two surpass me, including my own brother." Which Madara says, "What do you mean by that?" Which Hiroshima says, "Yeah," and it begins to make cracks everywhere and stuff. Which this is where I says, "Listen, now is not the time. We got to get ready." Which they pretty much look at me and pretty much says, "All right." Now they pretty much know that I'm a god, so I don't age, but I'm in my you could say 20s, so I don't age, but I still like to do things. Now, this is where we appear at the Usukis and stuff. And this is where we start to have fights with them and stuff. Now, we pretty much have the fight, and the same fight goes as original in the fight with Sasuke and Naruto. But instead of Sasuke getting burnt by the thing, he doesn't because I gave him different eyes, and he's OP. So, yeah, he doesn't get burnt, but he pretty much throws it back and fuck that guy up. But yeah, pretty much Sasuke and Naruto pretty much holds down the Sushi while Boruto does it, and Boruto pretty much kills the guy, and that pretty much nails it. Now, that's episode 1 of Uchiha Unbreakable. If y'all like, leave a like, comment, do all that stuff. But I'm Keishan Uchiha. Thanks for watching, and peace out.
It looks like you lost another one.